Welcome back to World Studies. In case you forgot what class you are in, this is the first video of week 4. You should have already taken the Chapter 17 test on Monday. This is the first video for Tuesday of week 4. Hope you all had a good weekend. Hope you're able to do well on the test. Just a reminder, please make sure that when you are turning in packets, that you are turning in the homeworks, the quizzes, and the tests. Do not turn in the notes. You need to keep those because, well, you need them for the test. So make sure that you keep these notes. Or if we start a new chapter and the next week we get into it, don't turn in your notes because then you don't have your notes anymore. So please make sure that you maintain control of your notes and that we're ready to go. We're on page 329 in our textbook. Page 329, we're starting a new chapter. As we said, this is World Studies, chapter 18, World War II. What I want you to do first is to read the intro paragraph on page 329 to yourself. Once we have finished, please unpause the video and we'll resume. Welcome back. First things first, in your notes, here's a quote that is a very well-known quote made by a man, Edmund Burke, who said, "The only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good men to do nothing." The fact of the matter is the world will experience its deadliest war ever in this chapter. The lessons taught in World War I had been forgotten within a short period of time. And it happened in part because good men did not act to stop the evil. What if people had stood up to Hitler or Mussolini or Japan right at the very beginning? Perhaps it would not have led to what we know of today as World War II. Well, we can't deal with the what-ifs of the past, but how about the present? Apply this quote to your life today. The fact of the people is bad. The fact of the matter is bad people will continue to scoff and ridicule God and the Bible. But it is worse when good Christians remain silent about it. Maybe the definition of good Christian wouldn't apply to them then. Here, if we were at a Christian school right now, I know you guys are all doing this from home, but even more so at home. Here at a Christian school or at your own home, stand for the truth. Do what is right. You know what's even better? Tell others to do the same. Otherwise, things will only get worse. Have you seen a friend or someone who did something that made you feel uncomfortable, made you doubt the righteousness of the action? Tell them about it. Confront them. Do it in as loving a manner as you can, but tell them what they did was wrong. Don't just put it off, because guess what? If you choose to say nothing, you're allowing it to continue. You are supporting it in happening. Rather, confront them. And if they still refuse to do anything about it, and if it's a serious enough offense, find some friends, and then the group of you confront them on it. And if they still refuse to do it, that's when you're allowed to find an authority, a teacher, to help deal with the situation. That is the proper biblical way to deal with these issues going on in our lives. Edmund Burke, of course, speaking on a national level, the only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good men to do nothing. Well, guess what? That also applies to our lives too. Let's get started. Roman numeral 1, causes of the war. Letter A, spread of dictatorships. Number 1 in Europe. As mentioned in the last chapter, dictators rose to power. Here's a few review questions. I think you guys know the answers, but I'll ask them anyways. and pause to see if you recall in your heads. Who became the dictator of Russia? Well, remember it was initially Vladimir Lenin and then Joseph Stalin. Who became the dictator of Germany, and what were his followers called? That, of course, was Adolf Hitler, and they were called Nazis. Who became the dictator of Italy, and what were his followers called? Again, the answer is Benito Mussolini, and they were called fascists. Well, dictatorships spread to other countries as well. In 1936, fascist Francisco Franco took over Spain. Franco had overthrown the Republican government there and imposed a fascist dictatorship. Spain had fought a short civil war over this, and Franco was the one who ended up taking control. German and Italian help made this a practice run for World War II. Both Mussolini and Hitler supported Franco and supplied weapons and tactics in the Spanish Civil War. The same weapons and strategies used in this conflict will be seen again in World War II. If you've ever been in a school play, if you've ever heard about this, think of it as the dress rehearsal, the practice run. It's as if they were performing just without the audience. Well, the Spanish Civil War is the dress rehearsal, the practice run for what's going to happen in World War II. Number 2, in Japan. Japan became a military dictatorship under the rule of Emperor Hirohito and General Hideki Tojo. Japan also adopted fascism, the representative government declined in influence, and the military took control. Both men were responsible for the militarization of Japan leading up to World War II. So these are the two main leaders of Japan during World War II. Letter B, legacy of World War I. Another reason for why we're going to get World War II was the fact that World War I was a failed lesson in history. As I've said before, if you don't learn from history, you'll be doomed to repeat history. Well, that's a well-known phrase that someone else has coined. My personal favorite, if you don't learn from history class, you'll be doomed to repeat history class. But the fact of the matter was, Germany and its allies had been humiliated. They had lost territory, and they were forced to pay for the war effort. For example, the entire war was placed on Germany and its allies in the Treaty of Versailles. Germany had lost its colonies and a sizable chunk of Germany itself. Germany and its allies were expected to pay for the war, further destroying their economy. What were the results of all this? Germany and its allies will desire revenge. Rather than learning from the lesson, rather than Germany realizing they shouldn't start another war, they will only see the anger, the hate, the revenge. Rather than being merciful and being kind and helpful to Germany, the countries that fought Germany will continue to seek vengeance against Germany, which will only embitter Germany even further. Because they had been treated harshly and unfairly, Hitler and his followers would not be satisfied until these injustices had been corrected. One individual in particular, I think I mentioned him some last chapter, one individual in particular who will want revenge, who fought in World War I, was Adolf Hitler himself. He fought in the war, he saw Germany defeated, but he saw the treaty results and the peace that came from it as humiliation for Germany. He saw the current government in Germany as weak, that needed to be removed. He saw that something had to be done, and out of anger, out of hate, he is going to lead Germany into World War II. That's all the material that we're actually going to cover for today. I know, nice short lesson for you guys. Hope you all have a good rest of the day. Be good, do good. Bye.